Welcome everyone to the FSL Valorant Evolve, and we will be your casters for the playoffs this time. My name is Sierra, and with me is Hey, I'm Quack. So right now we got to witness some of the best of one games. Some were very one-sided, and some were very close. But right now it's all down to these two teams, specifically Team Boosted and Team Mackenzie. They will be fighting out a best of three.
Yeah, for today at least. I mean, this is only the first stage of the playoffs. We just
Mm-hmm.
finished group stages, and I guess this is how everyone has been sorted out. It's going to be Boosted versus Mackenzie. We got 3 maps: Bind, Split, followed by Haven, the decider, if it goes to it. But oh my goodness, I'm kind of terrified because this is going to be difficult for Mackenzie. Boosted is the first runner-up from the previous FSL Evolve. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's going to be a tall hill to climb.
Yeah, indeed, and of course, seeing their scores as well, they managed to actually get a 13-1.
Yeah.
And their score differences are quite different, and they are the top in Group A. So Mackenzie has to basically take note of this as well. They might want to, not, I saw that. They might want to see or at least consider not just winning their aim duels, but also,
Mm.
checking all of these corners and try to their best to basically counter out or outplay rather Team Boosted. But then you did mention this is a hard mountain to climb, and right now we're going to proceed with their agent
Choose
select.
your
So
agent.
again, this is best of three, so the first game will be at Bind, and of course this type of map, potentially, at least on my opinion, I prefer it to be a bit more utility based because you can
Mm.
get a lot of coverage, especially despite whether you're going for the retakes or for post plants or for entry. So for both sides of our teams, Quack, what do you think are the agent selects from earlier? They it's quite similar actually.
Somewhat. I'm honestly just still really sad and hurt that nobody picked Neon
Oh, I agree.
or
I agree.
Shaper. But okay, fair enough. It is what it is. I mean, these are this is the competitive meta right now. But interestingly enough, we've got a difference in terms of controllers. We've got an Estra on the side of Mackenzie and a Brimstone on Boosted.
Hmm. Actually, this they do have differences in terms of their smokers. First off, Mackenzie does have that Astra Killjoy combination as well, which they can use. They are attackers, so they can use this type of setup for post plant situations. For the side of Boosted, you did say they do have a Brimstone. Brimstone, oh, he does have that extra smoke to work with, plus as well his Molly that can, be utilized as well in the most, clutches of times whenever deemed necessary. So for their duelists, they are also different. Boosted got Reyna, and of course Mackenzie got Jet. So different
Revealing area.
Yeah.
varieties of skill sets are going to be seen here, and at least guaranteed that both of our
Whoa.
teams have Sova to work with. But that recon vault with that expression that you just did kind of like signifies a huge amount of information for the side of Boosted. So Yuffie is going to go in towards left. Hunter is going to see Sugoi with that frenzy shot right there to open things up. Yatogami for the trade. Sad boy for a refrag. So it's now a 4v3. There's a man
Uh-oh.
advantage still in the
One
side
enemy
of
remains.
Boosted.
Caution here.
But look
Spike
at that.
down
It all
A.
equated to a 3 versus 1 very quickly. And with only a slim Ravel to work with, Kimi no Toriko is going to clean us with round number 1. I'm starting to see, are these lyrics?
Yeah, it's that
Like,
song.
Kimi no Toriko ni na.
Yeah, that's the one. Oh my god.
It's summertime.
Keep going.
Okay. Kimi no Toriko ni natte shimaeba kita. Okay, that's enough.
You know the
more,
lyrics.
more of
That's
that
the
from
best
my
thing.
stream. Oh, let's go.
Check out Seiya's stream. What's the link? Drop it somewhere.
Dropping an album, but going back here, right? We do see here that so far, at least for the side of Boosted, the fact that they have the patience to just wait for those peaks, so long as the spike is not planted, they have the luxury. They have all the time that they need. So it's all up to Mackenzie to just really, I guess, because they are on the attacker side, they can go on full aggression. They can really rush
Take
the
flight.
sides. And right now, since they don't really have much of a guns to work with, it's expected at least that Boosted is going to get this round for themselves.
Yeah, I think what Mackenzie really want to do is just be careful about this. You can see that they're kind of grouped up together, maybe overwhelm a couple of players like Trishiana, for example, pick up the Spectre and then
Scanning
work
ahead.
something off of that. But still, it's kind of scary. They don't want to just walk in blindly. There could be so many Spectres on the other side,
Ooh,
just like Segoy shooting down Fwizzy. So
mm,
now, it's going to be a little bit more difficult.
indeed. And here they do have the Sky to work with. So the usual tactic for a Sky here is that if one is flash, they just go for the push. Baby Ham right here goes in. That's gonna be an updraft dash, but Trishana denies that entry,
30 seconds
followed
left.
by Sugoi with a kill
One
of his
enemy
own.
remaining.
It kind of left them low on
Spike
health, but
down
Trishana's
A.
still getting these shots and popping off. All again dwindling down to Sad Boy once again. The lonely night of the team for Mackenzie, and this could be a potential flawless unless he shuts one down. But Yatogami is going to get this flawless round, really cleaning up the second round.
So it really is that final clean finish, not a single player to be dropped, and it just shows the strength of Boosted. This is the exact same team composition that they played the last time in FSL Evolve, especially on this map too. Adikachik on the Rays, and Trishiana, Brimstone, Segoy, everyone is doing their job, and that is why it's so difficult for Mackenzie to actually find some kind of an entry right now. They are the ones with that double initiator setup, though. So if they can coordinate some kind of a calculated push, someone maybe get some info with the Sova, figure out which positions you need to isolate, and then dash and flash in together, that could be the trick.
Indeed, but right now they are eyeing out for a B take here, since you did mention they do have guns to work with this time around in the third one. Hopefully that they are able to get these frags in towards their favor. But then again, we do see Sugoi here trying to hover up the drone just to see if he can get these amount of information because of these sprays that we've been hearing across this map. So this is where the drone begins. I think he might have detected someone before the smokes pop off, and right now Sugoi on his way towards garden. I think he may be able to see at least none actually. So they can, for the side of Mackenzie, can use this at least stealth to try to create presence, then rotate. But it looks like they're walking slowly towards A.
Interestingly enough, I mean, maybe it's just that sense from the drone that there could be more than 2 players on B. So rotating over, they have to make a full
30
commitment. There's
seconds
only
left.
30 seconds left. A lot of utility being dumped in as well, though. So let's see how they actually break in. Gotta wait for that incendiary to dissipate first.
And here, of course, the commitment is going to happen here. You mentioned time is ticking. The plant, I guess, will push through. So this is going to be a full-on retake for our defenders. Yatogami takes one, Sad Boy for the trade in that corner. Sugoi with a frag for his team. Again, the man advantage is in their hands. That's going to be a fake diffuse, so it's going to force out some utilities such as the pull. Checks out that corner here. A little bit of a fight from Lamps, but Adi will be winning that fight off. Yuki from a higher angle takes one, make it another. Is the spray transfer gonna pull through though? He does have the opportunity to buy some time, but with Kimi no Toriko here, not gonna get his shots right. And with that, Yuki takes 4K, gets that clutch here for the team and gaining their first point.
That is definitely one of the ways that you can play around the retake scenario. Yuffie just making it confusing for Boosted, not sure which angles to hold, striking at the best possible time. 4-2 is her KDA right now, but of course, you gotta take a look at Segoy, who is definitely lighting things up on the side of Boosted as well. I mean, just from starting things out from pistol all the way up till now, she's gotten 6 kills. She's gotten her Hunter's Fury. That could be a very useful thing to stall and deny Mackenzie the spike plants.
Ooh, loving the shower double peak potentials here that's going to come from Boosted. And they may be greeted with another pack here as Yatogami starts it off with one. And Trishana will be having that trade to save Yatogami as well. And just like that, Sugoi on Cubby on short takes one and dwindles everything to a 2 or now 4v2 situation. Man advantage still in the hands of Boosted, but with the Guardian, Fuzy is going to take a kill of his own. Maybe take advantage of this to at least go to a site. They do have a minute to spare, so they have this amount of thinking to do before they can try to plant that spike. So Seekers by Baby Tarn is going to be used to gather some amount of information, and Fuzzy will be using the stars to actually conceal on how they're going to entry from a site. So off they go here in towards. That's going to be a Molly. Oh, beautiful lineup as well to deny that spike plant.
Wow.
Fuzzy will take Trishana down, who kind of whiffs his shots as well. Best case scenario here, it all goes to a 2 versus 2, but here a kind of play for Baby Tarn, teleport towards B, but Yatogami makes it advantageous for them into a 2v1 fight. Spike is planted, so there is a certain eco, but Kimi no Toriko and Yatogami, them being the remaining members here, these skills or these utilities by Killjoy can be very much useful. Let's just see though if they are able to spot out Baby Tarn from elbow. Ooh.
I don't know, but she goes in for the swing, gets the first one, but not the second. Yatogami, already knowing where she would be coming from, has her crosshair perfectly placed, and of course the 3-1 win for Boosted.
Beautiful as well, because they were also watching the same angle. So despite one actually getting flash, it's bound to happen that one will go for the push. And the synergy that came from Boosted was very well demonstrated in towards that previous round. So far so good. You mentioned it, Sugoi, really Sugoi by top fragging for the team, but also. But also, I mean, you know, you gotta miss me at some point here, Quack. We've been doing this last year. So right now, again, it's mostly about synergy that's coming in from Boosted here that's making them really, you know, aggress and show their dominance despite being on the defensive side.
Absolutely, the keyword being synergy. Boosted, they are working in tandem so nicely, so beautifully, knowing exactly when to rotate, when to peek, that Mackenzie kind of are struggling to find any semblance of control. They might get spikes planted at some points, but when it comes down to holding it, if you're the last one left alive, it's just not going to work out too well. So they need to be a little bit more careful about how they approach the sites. They cannot afford to lose players that early on in the round. Still, though, this is an eco. We've got a Blade Storm. Yuffie needs to be the one to show up here.
Indeed, because again, as Kia has quoted himself from the previous round, this is a Blade Storm buy from him, but I don't think it is the same goes with other members, because again, you did say this is eco, so he really has to make do with his ult, with her ult rather. So right now we do see try a bit of a slow pace of an entrance. That's going to proc. The alarm bot uses the cloud burst just to get some coverage. That's gonna be an updraft. Will be spotting the head of Addy, but is enough to hide. But look at the Sugoi, and Addy will be taking kills of their own UP for the trade, but they do know he is in this corner. That's gonna be the crossfire, beautifully done by Addy and Sugoi as well. That's gonna be the bait shells with only Sheriff to work with, and tagged a bit by that shot. Sugoi and Trishana cleans it up for the pack for their 4th point.
So many knives, so much vision being kind of taken, but unfortunately Yuffie was not able to find the perfect connection. Meanwhile, the whole time that they were trying to break in towards B, it just sets up for that perfect play from the teleporter, from the site itself, and Trishana shows up just to take them down. It's 4-1. They're still holding on to their ultimates. This is going to be so much more difficult for Mackenzie here now.
And I mean, in terms of them actually going for eco, it's really not that bad so far. They do know at least when to save and when to actually go on full buys, which is right now for the specific round. Recon Bolt is going to detect Yuffie here, to say the least, towards Cubby. And right now, Trishana still in towards the slam. So far, they really haven't found a counter for these specific positions for the side of Boosted. It's going to be a Hunter's Fury. Let's see if it's going to tag some. Yuffie uses the updraft, but still, Sugoi with the patience knows when the updraft's going to get down and was able to take that away. This is a shocker moment.
Okay.
That may be a practice miss, or maybe there was no extra charge, or not a bit to the right. But still, they were able to plant the spike. Cosmic Divide is very helpful for them to narrow down the site. And of course, 4 post-plant positions as well. Loving the turret of Baby Ham here to deny any potential flank. But look at this orbital strike. We'll be getting some damage from Sky. That's gonna be the pull as well. Yatogami is gonna have that advantage because Sadboy uses the Hunter's Fury at a wrong time. Baby Ham and Baby Tar, the babies, are going to get some kills on their own. That's gonna be the lockdown. Can use to pressure them. Beautiful spray transfer, but Addy still wins the aim duel. But I guess there's no time. He's gonna be detained, and the lockdown actually saves them a round.
Oh my goodness. What a round of ultimates. The Cosmic Divide, the Orbital Strike, the Lockdown. No chance to defuse. And it makes it such a futile attempt. They had everything lined up for them up to the moment that the Killjoy ultimate was placed. So hats off. The babies have come here to play.
Indeed. But still, though, you have to take consideration that they for this specific round, since economy was damaged a bit, there is some economic disparity for both sides. There is bound to have that said save here, and it's not really either going to go for some split buys or some half ones as well. But then again, we have to consider that they're going to be working with some sheriffs or some SMGs or ghosts here for this round. 4-2 on our scoreboard, still in the advantage of boosted. So right now, at least for the side of Mackenzie, they were able to find a way to get that spike down in towards A site. But right now, Addy does know there's a turret here.
She's got a showstopper as well. I mean, she has the option to just blast pack in towards A short, catch all 3 players. But she's just waiting for the best timing.
Launching smoke.
Still holding. The smoke comes out. They have no idea where this brimstone is. And now the push goes in. Surely Adi goes in pretty soon, any moment now.
Oh, there it is. There it is, as you mentioned it.
No.
But I don't know if they see copy.
No.
Yuffie, Baby Tart misses his shot. That was a whiff, and Adi takes advantage of it. Yatogami, however, from sight, was able to take 3, giving space for the flankers to go to their aid. And that is just a great big bounce back from that round previously.
It's very bouncy for sure. I mean, what goes down bounces back up, I guess. It's a very welcome timeout being called as well, because there are some gaps, some issues inside of Mackenzie, and at the same time, it's good timing. They have just managed to save up enough to go into this round with a full buy. So if they can actually take down Boosted, they might just be able to somewhat change things around. But for now, it just seems like without the best buys, without the best positions, it's a little bit, I don't know, misguided, a little bit difficult for Mackenzie to find their footing in this game.
I think for this one, I mean, it's not really bad to go for that said rush push. It just so happens that the timing, especially when they try to place their utilities, it kind of is being taken advantage of boosted, because the moment that they kind of hover into their skills is the moment that they kind of spot them down, so they don't really have that much of a reaction time. This actually is a very good call for a timeout for the side of Mackenzie, because it kind of like resets or actually gives them a little bit of a breather to this current momentum that is being in the hands of boosted. So right now, if you are going to see here into the minimap, they are eyeing out for another attempt at B, but this time they got to at least have it in a way wherein they can win the fights and also enter the site without spending too much of their skills, so that they can utilize it later for the post plant. But this is not looking too good, because that drone, although destroyed, was able to spot out 3. So they still have the choice to wait here, but let's see how Boosted is going to react with that said information.
Yeah, I'm pretty scared as well. I mean, this smoke is just the first thing to start things off. I mean, you've got several bunches of Killjoy utility dispersed all across the map as well. I mean, if they try to go into this, they got to first deal with that. There's so much that Boosted can do to stall right now that They really just need to make sure they maintain control over the site, and that's exactly what Yuffie and Gang are trying to do right now. Spike getting planted, Astro Nebula's all
Ooh.
set up as well, but then the lockdown comes back in.
It forces them to go out of the site, and they just have two options here: either hookah, which is now smoked, or garden. And it just is a good way to segregate our attackers here. That's gonna be the satchel, but look at that beautiful push from Addy and Shoshana for the trade, making a double from hookah. And that's just it. They basically were able to sandwich down, not technically the members of Mackenzie, but they were able to segregate them away from sight, denying those angles that could have been monitored by Mackenzie. And the timing of that lockdown was so useful.
It's just so useful. Absolutely disgusting. Jaya. She comes at the best possible time. Everything changed just because
When the
of
lockdown
that
attack.
one ultimate. I mean, you gotta keep in mind, this was also a round that Boosted had to carry on their Spectres from the previous round up against Mackenzie's full buy. Because they made it a near flawless round, they got free upgrades.
Indeed, and it's just all the more really showing the economic disparity between the teams. 6-2, it's starting to really show off as one-sided once again for the side of this game. But then I don't want to neglect Mackenzie's capabilities just yet, because anything can still happen on the second half. But right now, because Boosted has this gap, they can have this lax time. Trishana in smoke gets baby Ham. What is that? Not wanting this baby to go in sight. Sugoi as well with a kill of his own is really amazeballs. And right now, they are forced out to rotate. But do take note, the Killjoy is there, not neglecting flanking capability. That's going to be a Vandal off angle shot.
Oh no!
Whips it a bit with the low HP. That's the right click, but still, Kimi no Toriko gets summertime on point. And that's going to be the turret indicating that someone is from hookah, as well as that recon bolt. So once more, this is literal your peanut butter sandwich. One from B, one from flank. And they have no choice but to just attend crossfires at 30
seconds left.
Oh my goodness, it's summertime. We got PB and J.
We got
It's
picnic
just the
ongoing.
perfect picnic. Sad boy, I'm sorry, but this is not looking too good. You're gonna have to wipe off your tears because this game is not over. It's 7-2. And Booster are just not slowing down. Every single round, they've got so much control. I mean, talk about the sandwiches. You got the perfect setups. They're making use of the teleporter to gain extra information. And Mackenzie just have no idea how to respond to that.
Exactly. And you also have to highlight the game sense that the teams or each individual players of Boosted has right now, because actually at this point it's not we're not gonna look at this at a kill perspective, but more on how the members of Boosted place their skills. It may not equate to some kills or assists, but the fact that it gives information so that the duelists or the initiators can just pull through is more than enough for them to win every single round. And so far it has been very disciplined for the side of Boosted.
Absolutely. I mean, look at them. They're not even moving right now. They have all the utility all up over on B. It's amaze balls. They don't have to move. Just activate those balls when they actually walk into sight, which is what Mackenzie are trying to do right now. I'm not sure if they realize this is going to be the exact same setup as what we saw from the previous rounds. And at the same time, I'm waiting for those ultimates because they've got quite a number. The orbital strike's the first one that comes in, and now numbers are starting to thin.
And the timing as well, whenever they peek, is just going into their favor. This Leer is enough for space for Kimi no Toriko to get a 3. Is it going to be a quad? Fusi, only the member alive. They know that he's a hookah, still manages to get that tap going. Hides himself in the vicinity and shuts down Kimi no Toriko. Not going to be a summertime, but yet Togami is just going to go beyond and cleans it up so that Trishana gets this defuse. 8-2 in the scoreline. It's just really asserting dominance here for the side of Boosted.
And it's just so unfortunate. It's pure dominance. We are pulling Mackenzie down, making them heal, making them submit, because it's history repeating itself. I mean, take a look at this. 4 past rounds, all won by Boosted, and it's the same setup of just allowing Mackenzie to actually walk into side. Meanwhile, because they have their ultimates on the side of Boosted, You send in the orbital strike, perfect timing, create space. Triciana, it's so difficult for Mackenzie to actually hold after the spike gets planted.
Exactly. But right now, in towards this round, we did mention the one of the rounds that Mackenzie won was because of their ultimates. 4 people in their team have these set ultimates. Maybe this could be the perfect timing to once again utilize that. But at the same time, you have to take note, they can't really depend too much on their ultimates alone. Sooner or later, they have to win these double peaks, these 3 frags that have been happening towards our previous rounds if they want to make things work. And right now, it's not really been a good day, at least for the side of Mackenzie. It's kind of cloudy in towards their sides, so they really have to find that way in wherein they can try to catch the members of Boosted off guard in a manner wherein the timing is in their favor, also with the usage of their skills as much as possible, because they're making they're using these utilities quite early. What happens is Boosted is just going to wait. You mentioned this earlier, they're just waiting. They're not being faltered by all of these skills that, in hopes that Mackenzie that Boosted would react to it. But right now that's not the case. So maybe just try to use the skill sets maybe for the post plan situations. But there's another recurring problem that Mackenzie is facing right now, is that they can't enter the site without any casualties.
Exactly. Sometimes you spend so much just to get in that by the time you get your spike planted, you don't have much else left to defend with. That's kind of that swap over. Once you get the spike planted, you start to become the defenders, and you're basically holden to the site. And that is how Boosted really try to pick them off one by one. They need to kind of just not get phased by all these things that Boosted are throwing at them. If they get the spike planted, good. Just make sure you play that advantage well. You don't have to freak out so much. If they can actually pick up a couple more frags once they have control over site, that would be good. But here it goes, dashing straight into Triciana. That is not what you wanted to see.
Bit too late for Christmas. You don't really want to dashing through a Triciana right there, of course, in towards the placement of the crosshair. And that's gonna be the spike plant. And finally, they were able to get that plant down, but again with the cost of 1 casualty. And it's Yuffie to add to that. Both of our Killjoys place their lockdowns right now, so this is just interesting. So for the side of Mackenzie, they can just go out, wait for that defuse audio cue, but the Hunter's Fury and the Smalley all the more tries to deny themselves. But look at this. Because Sad Boy takes 2 and Hope they tried to push, he gets 3. Now it's a matter of a 1v2 fight, and Sad Boy, not so sad after all, takes 4K for this
last round in the
and
half.
right now they can still have that opportunity to take that 8-4 scoreline, so that when the side switches, it's still a viable, really a line to work with.
Yeah, really, that line is what we're talking about. I mean, might be the Riot multiverse here or there, but I don't think this is Sad Boy anymore. This is a Happy Mummy, because that was the perfect Hunter Sphere, just waiting on that final beam. Gets her, the 2 frags, and then the 3rd and the 4th. That is what Mackenzie truly needs, and now with this morale boost, hopefully they can turn this into an 8-4.
Hopefully. I mean, that's the objective for the side of Mackenzie now. They want to get as much points as possible before the second half arrives. And take note that pistol round from earlier was won by Boosted. So again, in the second half, they should win that out, because it's not just a morale boost, but also a more chance of getting points, because they will be getting better weaponry on the next. But here we focus on the last round before the switch. So this time it's a bit of a bit more delayed push is what I'm expecting for the side of Mackenzie here. Look at that, getting that drone, getting things done. Yuffie for the dash. Let's see if Addy will be able to see that. Actually, no, from the behind, takes him down and has a free Vandal to salvage. This is going to be a spike plant. Ooh, the swarm grenade is not enough to get that damage. Female Thorico with his summertime takes 2. And with that timing as well, goes in his favor. But from Garden, he was spotting up. Sad Boy takes 3, and only Fusey as the remaining member uses the pull to deny the defuse, but the shock guard is all the more making things hard. That's gonna be another beautiful spray transfer from Fusey, dwindling it to a 1 versus 1, but Sugoi still manages to make it work, decides to push and not the fake. And with just that, 9-3 now to the first half, making things all the more difficult for Mackenzie.
I
Switching
have
sides.
never seen such a more perfect spray. That was truly the definition of a target-rich environment for Fusey, but unfortunately the final person who comes up at the perfect time is gonna be Sugoi, leading the scoreboard right now, carrying Boosted to victory, not to mention her teammates, every single one of them, basically close to double digits at this point. It's 9-3, not an 8-4, and I just cannot picture how Mackenzie can come back from this unless they win this pistol.
Again, we did mention it earlier. If they are able to win this pistol round, they will have a bonus one, the next one, because again, they have the capability to buy better guns. And of course, again, it's also a matter of them winning their aim duels as well. But this time, Boosted is the one, the aggressive side. So at least for the first few seconds of our game right now, they're quite trying to hold things back. They're making sure that at least they're trying to get some information first before they dish out those skills or before they commit to this. Because look at how slow it is. Alarm bot is going to really pop off, but it's still not them, you know, exerting all of these skills. So they do know that one's gonna be at cubby, one's gonna be at short, uses the flash now. So basically they're just forcing out these skills away from Mackenzie. I'm pretty sure that they might commit to site sooner in the likes of 40 seconds, because look, they're slowly rotating to a different site.
Wow. And that is what you love to see. Boosted. I mean, the time might be ticking, but the way that they are moving back and forth, it's so different from how Mackenzie played earlier on, because they are just so careful, so calm, so cool. They're not rushing in. They're slowly taking out little bits of utility, and then now they push in together as a team. Water falling down the site. I don't know if Fusey could do anything at this point because the spike is going down.
Beautiful right click by Trishana as well, covering up for the team. And notice how it's only Addy that had half of the health, and the other members are still quite healthy. So this is the post-plant situation that I was opting for Mackenzie. Not really to really go full-on aggression, just wait for those peaks. And look at this, they managed to dwindle it to a now 4 versus 2. And look at Sad Boy with a low break of a health, but the other members are just there for the refrag. 10-3. This is now the 2-digit score line for Boosted. 3 more, and they could win game number 1. So this was the kind of post-match situation that I was actually opting for the side of Mackenzie. Just place the spike into an angle wherein you can watch, you know, at least that attempted defuse. But the thing is, what's happening from the previous half is that they tend to be reactive in terms of the skills. Hence, a bit of a rush coming through them. And Boosted is just taking advantage of that. So right now, there's still hope for Mackenzie here if they manage to play their cards. But the question is, how or when?
That is the question, and we are just waiting to see it unfold in front of our very eyes. Boosted, of course, knowing that they have the guns in this round, they have the advantage. They could just walk in if they wanted, but they're going to do it together with a drone. Of course, though, they gotta watch out for their backs. There is an alarm bot just to watch the flanks, so they don't have to worry too much on that front. You got Yatogami pushing in towards showers as well. The double-pronged approach. I'm not sure if Mackenzie are prepared for this, but I'm also watching this flank because it's going all the way through the tunnel. They've actually just bypassed the alarm bot, but also kind of allowing Boosted to slip the net.
This is
Bullseye.
Oh, beautiful. Sad Boy gets that headshot here as well. With maybe Ham, you know, with that refrag potentially if he was able to whiff that. But right now, that kind of flank earlier was like your love story wherein you met but you're not destined to be. But right now it's destined to be, as Sugoi kind of takes one with the help of the refrag. Yuffie with the trade, but it equalizes to a 3v3. The smokes are really tedious to work with. Was able to spot out Baby Ham, but Baby Han takes a kill
10
before
seconds.
he can even rotate
10 seconds
to
left.
safety. But with 10 seconds left, there is still time to plant this spike. I'm pretty sure one swarm grenade is gonna be placed as well with the turret. That's one, make it another for Trishana. Beautiful protect, beautiful cover, and now it equates to Sad Boy once again be the only member alive. It takes a Spectre, but look at this, because they teleported, they didn't go and rush him. He just went to garden,
Out
one
of
to elbow,
charges.
and the crossfire is not perfect.
Well, it's just a lot of layers of defenses because so much noise being made right now. Tristiana can peek up at any time. And you also have the Killjoy just waiting in place. It's the triple kill for this girl, and she is absolutely popping off for her team, lighting up the kill feed. And it has to be said, this is looking to be a very one-sided boosted game. 18-7, 16-6s. How can Mackenzie come back from this?
This is getting all the more difficult for their side. They do have rifles to work with here, but then again, at what cost? Because this is technically a bonus round for boosted, so if ever they do lose this one, they still have money for the next one. So again, this is also the advantage of having a huge gap in the scoreline. You get to have that leeway, you get to have that space to just try to lax and refocus on everything. And that recon bolt was so useful. It gave information. It kind of, paved the way to have them a bit of a grasp of how they can position themselves. Because look, there are two flanks that we're seeing from Market. Addy is quite preoccupied on towards Hookah. I'm not sure if they're going to anticipate this, but they are in sight. So I guess I can assume that this could go on full retake.
Well, it certainly is looking to shape up into that. The spike gets planted. And because this is only the third round of the second half, none of them really have their ultimates just yet. If anything, this is Boosted going to be in full control, full post-plant setups. Anyone that tries to stream in, Boosted are going to be prepared for it.
Indeed, their position really complements for both the flank and inside taking. But look at this, Yato Gaminari takes one, make it another. Yuffie though was able to take a trade as well as Baby Ham, but they're just utilizing tin cans here with a triple peak. And Yato Gami was able to isolate that fact in the last, makes it 3, make it a 4 for the match point.
What? Who is this girl? How is she able to just walk away with quadra after quadra? It is so disgusting. They are so good at this game. And it's unfortunate for Mackenzie because they are not bad players. They know how to play it, but it just feels like something is lacking in terms of the experience, perhaps. It's a little bit of nerves at the same time. There are all these tiny little gaps that Booster just seem to be a little bit more prepared for.
Indeed, it's as if that they kind of anticipate to where the members of Mackenzie are going to go, especially for their retakes. Notice how usually the lineups is going to go from B long or from B short, but they went in towards that site. It's prepared for that triple peak, and it worked wonders for them. So this is going to be another attempt to them, but this time this is a bit of a hasty approach for the side of Boosted. And I think they should know that someone is at least under Hookah. Because look at this, that's gonna be the lockdown. Oh man, just to mess that up, but Addy still takes that boy down. What a mad lad. Yatogami as well. Is this Noragami moment? But you know what? It kind of works. Kimi Natorika with that lockdown was able to delay a potential retake for the side of Mackenzie, only to a 3 versus 5. Wins his shot, unfortunately uses the dash, changes the Spectre, but they do know now that they are in elbow. The double peek can happen. Yuffie will be taking that flawless away. Baby Karn as well for a kill of his own in towards City, and a face-to-face moment. And with that being said, it's done. Game number 1 goes to Boosted.
That is just one of the quickest games so far today. 13-3, you said it. It's just ridiculous. Absolutely. There might be 2 players with the name Baby on the side of Mackenzie, but it's kind of like just Boosted, Karute. Hey kids. This is 13-3. This is my game. What are you doing here? Let's just go to split right away.
Indeed. It's as if usually you would see a bit of a more passive plays when you're on defender's side, or and a bit more of an aggression for the attackers. But the beautiful thing about it for the side of Boost is that they still come up as a disciplined unit. Like, they know exactly when to peak, they know when to place these skill sets in a manner wherein they're not going to be vulnerable, because they can assure themselves that the other player or the other team can cover for them, especially when they're trying to place, example for Trishana, these smokes, or Sugoi with the drone. They know that they are covered by the other teams. And just look at that ACS coming in from Yatogami as well, really popping up for the team, as well as Sugoi and Trishana, and really giving some space. You have to kudos as well for Mackenzie, because they were able to get some highlights too. Unfortunately, it's not really reflecting into the results that they'd want, because then again, vulnerability is there. Aim duels, they weren't really as efficient as Boosted had, and it just really went down south, unfortunately, for them. But you know what? We still have game number 2, so maybe they can still force a 1-1 scoreline.
Yeah, absolutely, maybe. I mean, this is only the first game, and yeah, for Mackenzie, definitely do not despair, because they have chances to come back into this. We see how strong Boosted can be, but I really think it's just a difference in terms of nerves, maybe a little bit more experience. If Mackenzie, continues to play and FSL evolves, they can certainly be a long-time contender. They just got to keep at it, and that's the thing. This is only game number 1. It might be Kimi no Torgo summertime stuff, as you've been saying throughout the entire
See,
game.
look at my room,
but
like a lot of sun, right?
what
being
changes?
blessed,
What comes after summer? There's a change of seasons now. So after this break, we're gonna see maybe different, maybe autumn or something, or winter. I don't know. It was just winter, but that is it. We're gonna come back with this for more FSL Valorant Evolved action. It's going to be split, Boosted versus Mackenzie, up next. It might be summertime with Kimi no Toriko on the side of Boosted, but is it summertime, or is it more summertime sadness with that 13-4 from the first game? You know what? It's okay, because we are back in this, folks. We've got split. It's Boosted versus Mackenzie, and we are your casters. We've got Hey, I'm Quack, and Zaya, who's got a lovely, lovely voice. She's gonna start singing all those songs pretty soon.
No. If you want to find that out, you just go on my Twitch, get that follow. Now maybe I'll sing to you, but you know what? That's enough plug. We've seen earlier towards game number 1 a dominating fight against between rather Boosted and Mackenzie, getting that 13-3, if I'm not mistaken. Does my memory serve me right? I hope it does. 4 3 or 4,
No, 3,
regardless,
3.
it was one-sided, it was dominating, and Boosted was able to really assert their dominance all throughout our fights with those disciplined tactics, with those plays in terms of placing their skills, utilities, and of course their aim duels at the end of the day. Despite having a quick timeout from earlier, unfortunately, it really did not, reflect or kind of made way for the side of Mackenzie. So right now, in towards our next map, which is Split. In comparison with Bind, this is quite smaller, and of course, one of the first maps that we get to really play around all throughout Valorant. So right now, I'm expecting more of a coverage in terms of agent selections, and what I mean is, again, utilities. Like, I've been emphasizing this for most of my casts, but right now the meta, at least in my opinion, for agent selections is the utility oriented composition, and one of which can be very helpful is we've been seeing over and over some
agent.
of the likes of either a Sky push and a Sky flash and then push, or an Astra Killjoy combination, or whichever, maybe going for some mobility of double duelist lineup, in which I can see right now. So they're quite similar. I think the only difference that I am seeing here is the duelist, which is a Raze instead of a Jet, and the Smoker as well. We do see an Astra on the side of Mackenzie, and Omen for Sugoi. So there's not gonna be any Sovas in here, and the source of information that I can tell for both sides of the teams are the common denominator is basically the Killjoy, and a little bit of extra with the raise here for the side of boosted with that boom bot. So this is an interesting fight as well, and we're going to start it off with boosted as the attacker's side.
Yeah, to say the least, but they really look coordinated in terms of their player cards, all of them using the same ones for each of their individual agents. Very lovely to see, but this is kind of reminiscent of that grand final of Valorant Champions, Gambit versus Ascend. One team going with the Astra, which is kind of the meta controller pick, and then the other one going for something off meta, but it still worked out really nicely. Omen on Split, of all things. It could be a very useful tactic to just teleport back and forth and confuse your opponents, and that is an option that is available for boosted. Still, though, it's going to be that early B push that gets denied by the wall, ultimately getting shot down, but that's only one panel. Stars instantly coming in to deny a little bit of control. Meanwhile, the rest of the boosted squad trying to find whatever they can get on towards the B site. But looking at how Mackenzie are positioned this time, very, very defensive.
Indeed. So, liking how this time for the side of Mackenzie, they're not really too reactive in terms of the skills being dished out by boosted, but the patience. Like this is also a matter of the patience game for either sides of the team. So notice how they're slowly running down towards A, kind of giving them an idea that they may be trying to have that delay push, but right now they just went on full rotate towards A, with Astra being the only member there. And of course Jet can have the convenience to just go towards vent, but that's already spotted. They do see it. That's going to be the smoke coming in from Sugoi to deny vision from both heaven and screens. And right now, seeing these utilities from the Killjoy, decides to plant the spike in a more convenient angle. So right now, they managed to wall off screens, denied that entry. Yuffie takes one down, but the alarm bot is more than enough to give intel. Gonna deny the turret, but Sugoi whips it out and Sad Boy gets the kill. Another one in towards below. Addy will be taking one down. Yuffie for the trade, but it is still a 4 versus 2. Beautiful tap right click by Trishana. And Kimi no Toriko as well, and tries to control. Bit of a whip right there, but to manage to equate it to a 1 versus 1. Kimi no Toriko already spots it out, gets a bit of a heal. That's going to be a fake defuse, but Yuffie still gets 3. And this time it is Mackenzie taking the first round. Yes, with a 1.36 seconds to spare.
Almost. Very close, but you know, it's no longer summertime. It is now autumn, or like Kimi no Toriko in that previous round, fall, because 1-0 is the score. And it just shows that Mackenzie, when they are a little bit more comfortable, when they're not so nervous about defending the site any longer, they're able to actually come in together, wave after wave, just to retake this. Screens is blocked off, no problem. Let's go through heaven. Let's go through ramps instead. And we do it together as a team. Boosted, I think they might be in for a different game this time around.
Could be. Or maybe,
still early,
you know, just
still early.
try, yeah, too early to decide still. But of course, again, it is expected now that Mackenzie should be winning this round, simply because they have better weapons to work with as well. And the only option that can be done, or not really only option, but more like the viable option that can be done for the side of Boosted, is that they double peak. But look at this though, Baby Tarn with the 2K, beautifully done. Make it another trade for Yuffie as well. Addy will be showing off his knee, denying that spike plant, and only the summertime to refrag, but not enough, because again, as expected, better weaponry will be winning these games, and this is going to be a flawless round for the side of Mackenzie. So again, it is, at least for the first 2 rounds, whoever wins pistol is expected to win the other one, but now we do see Boosted with better weapons, because this is also one of the factors that you have to like consider, especially when you're trying to really win these games, right? You have to take note of the weapons that they're using as well. So them having the rifles, do you think there is going to be a significant change to that fact?
There just might be, but there is also a chance for a player like Fusey who has the Marshall to be able to duke out against the rifles in those long range duels. I mean, look at the position that she's holding in right now. Screens. As soon as anyone tries to peek through in towards A ramps, she's going to get first contact. At the same time, the push coming through in towards mailroom is going to be Baby Tarn who gets a little bit curious about this. If Yuffie can come in time, she just might be able to pull off a flank. And there it is, Sugoi getting taken out. One player hiding in the corner of mailroom, though, and they are just trying to find her. Finally spots the barrel. She gets the pick. It's a bit of an even trade, but she doesn't expect Yuffie to push out of ropes. Still, though, Spike going in towards the A side. What is this?
Indeed, but right now this shakeup can be beneficial for Boosted if they play their cards right. Look at these utilities that Killjoy has placed. It kind of at least covers the site so that they are forced in a different direction. Turret will be destroyed, but Yuffie has to be very careful with the corners. But Kimi no Toriko is going to secure that fact. Not watched in the other side for a peek, but Yatogami and Addy was able to clean things up. So again, at least it confirms, to say the least, that with better weapons, they were able to create a significant change. And of course, denying what could have been a 3-win streak for Mackenzie.
Definitely, and that is a very welcome denial as well, because if they had lost this, that would be a very big economical boost for the side of Mackenzie. So this kind of brings things back to something a little bit more normal, but at the same time, it is just showing us how much depth that the boosted players have. That little scuffle in towards mid, that was all but a misdirectional play. They actually used it to get the spike planted on A. They could do the same thing this time. It's just going to be a little bit more confusing for Mackenzie at this point. Trying to find something in towards garage right now, but they're not really fully committing into it. Just look at that. Using the boombot to create space and then farming the alt orb.
I mean, that is like the usual, thing to do, especially that you are able to have that opportunity to get that side orb since they don't really peek from the backside too much. So that is a better play, to say the least. They do have it stacked momentarily, but right now they are eyeing out towards mid. Any hopes of potentially taking the set side? It's about timing who gets to peek first and who gets to place that crosshair towards their heads. So I like it how Boost is just taking their time here. They know that they still have a time to spare or any potential rotate because vents and alleys are available to use. Again, Split is a small map, so they want to make use of this as much as possible. So look at this. They are pressuring them to go out of the map just so that they can capitalize on the spaces here. No one's gonna get detained, to say the least, but it gave them a space to enter the site. Sad Boy, however, is able to take away Yatogami. Is supposed to be their entry. Sugoi from the behind kind of misses the shot, uses the paranoia, goes down from heaven and takes it down off guard. But it was dwindled all to a 1v3, but Fusey was fast on her feet and gets that shot before anything could have gotten at a different story. So it's a 3 versus 1. They managed to bounce back off into towards that loss from previous round.
Numbers dwindling, players falling. It just comes down to Boosted losing out in terms of numbers. Doesn't matter. They had the lockdown. It was a very interesting way to create space and ultimately get control over the site, but similarly to what happened before in Bind, they weren't able to maintain that control. The retake was a little bit faster than I think they expected, so Mackenzie really just came in and descended upon them, showing them the wrath and the fury that they are capable of. It's 3-1 right now. Let's see if this can carry over into a fourth. Very likely now, because they've got nothing but pistols.
Look at all of those utilities that was used just now, and here they were able to plant down the spike this time around. A lot of space were created. Shoshana from another angle takes one. Is it gonna be another? Not going to be, as Baby Tarn is able to get a kill, reflect it, and use an ult. Ooh, but Yuffie with that spray was able to get Sugoi down, not giving her a time to at least get that space. Kimi no Toriko will be whipping it a bit because of that wide peak from Baby Tarn. takes 3 for the team. Looks like things are about to turn tables here unless Boosted finds a way to break the streak.
It's just, I don't know if it's going to happen anytime soon. Maybe this next one, because that was a save round from Boosted. Now they get to full buy. They've got some ultimates to work with as well. But again, even if they do, it's just going to turn into 4-2. Not the worst thing in the world, and it certainly is shaping up to be a very different game as compared to before. This defensive side from Mackenzie really shaping up to be something great to watch.
Definitely. And again, this is a similar thing that happened between Boosted, right? They were able to really run away with a huge scoreline. So maybe Mackenzie can also do this into their defender's side. So right now, Trishana already knows at least that B Heaven is walled off, and they're supposed to anticipate at least that one is standing in front of that, because look at the high angle that Trishana's looking at the moment. So he's not going to be able to see much though. That's gonna destroy the swarm grenades as well. And because she was able to throw that slow orb, it's safe to say at least that one is, elevated at a higher angle. So I don't know if Trishana anticipates that one is in sight. Ooh, but the paranoia is enough to take one down. And Trishana goes for the refrag. 3 versus 4 man advantage in towards her arsenal. Uses the ult. I guess that's a diversion play to think that someone's at A. Because look at this. Kimi no Toriga plants a spike towards B site.
And that's just a little bit all too confusing. Some players trying to look for that omen, but little do they know, she's all the way in the back of B. Trishana still proving to be the thorn in their sides. Finally getting taken down by Fusey, but here it comes, 2v3 retake.
2v3 retake, I mean, they are in the post-plant situation, so they don't really have... It's okay if they don't peek it out, but look at this. Addy will take one sad boy for the trade, but Kimi no Toriko cleans it up, and this time gets their second point. Looks like they're trying their best to really place their feet back up, standing, and will, potentially try to get an early tie, so long as the scores are quite tight or quite close together.
Yeah, it's still fairly close, but it's a very lovely, interesting strategy coming in from the boosted squad, the Malaysian girls, as they sent in that coordinated paranoia followed by the showstopper. It just ensures that even though there was a player hiding in the corner, she would have a little bit of a delay before she can actually start firing, and that just makes it a little bit easier for them to gain entry in towards the B site, not to mention the push coming out of Garage as well. This time, headed in towards the A site, there are only 2 players to deal with, one of them being Yuffie, the other Fusey, all the way inside of screens. It's not too difficult to actually create space in this spot now.
And this time they will be going back towards A, at least for the side of Boosted, because they may try to at least try to experiment to which side they are most comfortable in really taking control. So it starts off with the slow orb, but because of that paranoia, if I'm not mistaken, or the Leer was able to deny things out, but that's going to be a res coming in from Summertime from Kimi no Toriko, and they are taking control of the Heaven side, which is great. Places that wall, but that is also intel, to say the least, that someone should be in screens. Addy is very fast on her senses. Her spidey senses are tingling. There is the Leer back there. The turret is destroyed.
Oh, Addy.
The patience to get a view of that corner with some bits. Sad boy still wins that fight, and now it's a 3 versus 4 man advantage still there. Kimi no Toriko takes one, gonna be cautious on the other, but still whips it out. Sad boy uses dismiss. Baby Tarn for a 2 and a 3 from A back, managed to get them off guard, and this is now the 5-2 scoreline. Looks like Mackenzie, a bit mad, is now trying their best to run away with trying to further up the gaps into the scores.
Yeah, this gap was starting to close in a little bit, but now it's back a little bit further just as soon as it got closer. it's just really, like you mentioned, Mackenzie are upset. They want revenge for whatever happened on the previous map, and unfortunately for Boosted, despite getting all of that control, they weren't able to hold on to it. Similarly to what we saw from before, right? I mean, you have the spike planted, you have your positions, but then when it comes down to holding some of these corners and ensuring that the Mackenzie players wouldn't be able to gain enough map control for the retakes, players like Adikachik, unfortunately, not winning out on those duels really hurts them in the long run. So now they're on a bit of a save. Let's see what they can actually pull off. Trying to go in for the full execute in towards the B side, but they get ultimately denied because of smokes, because of Nova Pulses and Gravity Wells.
Exactly. So right now,
Wait.
ooh, Sugoi, however,
What?
was able to take Fusey down. He should have heard the rope, but I guess you know they kind of like went up slowly. Sad Boy has been popping up for the team as well as he gets another tap down in there, and of course for Yuffie as well to furthermore get the advantage in towards their sites. Not knowing that they are an A though, they're quite discombobulated to where the plant is supposed to be, and now there's the plant here. That's gonna be a dinked Sad Boy, but with the help of the heal, manages to reset everything up, and it's now a 2 versus 4. This is an interesting.
Wow.
That was an interesting, or more like a bit of a questionable crossfire moment for me, to say the least, because that space in towards site is quite vulnerable, at least to where Yatogami was at. So right now, Mackenzie is making wonders here towards her defensive side in towards split.
Yeah, it's one of those setups that you really only want to pull off when you can be sure that nobody's pushing in from ramps. But unfortunately, with the numbers that Mackenzie had, they had that option. They had that advantage. They're just going to go in to exploit every single little bit of it. And now they are sitting at 4 out of 5 ultimates. Very huge, very useful for stalling, retaking, whatever it is, you name it, they got it.
And right now, it's as if
Oh.
that. Ooh, I was about to say that they should be a bit more cautious in entering, but Fusey, just fast on her feet, manages to take one of the entry players from Boosted.
Just one number instantly gone, and if I'm not wrong, this was a full buy for Boosted as well. Definitely not what you want to have. Certainly hurting their mental game a little bit as well. Now trying to find whatever other options are available. Unfortunately, if they can't find Baby Ham in this one spot, this push, this presence in towards middle is as good as useless. And there it is. The frag comes in, the heal as well, but Baby Tar just comes in to trade. She's got a res as well, so I don't know how this is shaping up for Boosted because it doesn't look good at all.
Ooh, but a res as well for the fellow Baby. Uses the Leer in here. That's going to be a quick peek. This should be a double peek coming in. Yatogami for the trade. Everything is now equating to a 1 versus 1. Yatogami, I'm not sure if she is able to predict that Fusey is at heaven. That's going to be the star placed. Ooh, nice bait on that pull here. That could have been an opportunity for Fusey to go for the push. That's going to be the spike plant regardless. Ooh, but the head is seen! And a quick tap from Fusey is enough to clean up this round for the team.
There are only so many finite spots that you really want to plant your spike in, whether it's behind that one little box or behind the stack of boxes right underneath of Heaven or Rafters. And it just seems like Fusey knows exactly where he'll look this time around. So much more comfortable on the map split. And this is interesting to me because if you take a look at their stats across the group stages, Mackenzie actually hasn't played split yet so far in this tournament.
Ooh. So this could be a new record for them right now, if ever, or regardless of the outcome. At least right now, it is safe to say that they do have a dominating first half here, and since it is their time to play split.
You should run.
Oh, lockdown.
Oh.
Oh dear. Oh no, Trishana knows. There are people at it, but they were able to run away to safety. This lockdown is helpful for them to delay. Sometimes Trishana has to be very careful when peeking though, because Sad Boy is being aimed at that spot. And as I mentioned it, Sad Boy just takes the kill with Isugoi for the trade. Maybe Ham to refrag. Kimi no Toriko and the gang are already here. Yatogami as well. Oh, that was just a perfect timing for this lockdown. They're not gonna destroy it, aren't they? But those are a lot of eyes to work with. Not going to equate to a spray transfer, but this is gonna be the defuse. Yatogami has not much of a choice yet. And at this point, takes a peek, whips it out. That's gonna be a triple peek, and Baby Ham just takes 3, 8-2 in our scoreline. This is similar to game 1, just in a different map.
Different map, different teams too. 8-2, and Mackenzie are in the lead. A stark difference compared to what we had from Bind. And right now, Baby Tarn leading the scoreboard with a 14-5. That is absolutely tremendous. Sad Boy as well, 12-5. It just seems like Boosted are lacking in terms of map control. Every time they try to step in, get the spike planted, they can't quite maintain it. Now trying to go in towards A, they get spotted all too early. They stream onto site, but it just seems like Mackenzie are allowing them to come in because of the setups that they could have for the retake.
The chaotic display of skill or utility usage here, but no casualties just yet. There are some members that are quite injured. Fusey now has the capability to use Cosmic Divide, but kind of actually it retains that. So right now we are seeing Sad Boy takes Addy down. That's gonna be a gravity pull. That's gonna be a trade or a double peek rather. But Yatogami spots out 1 and Sugoi to end it in an 8-3. Can an 8-4 happen this time? I'm not sure. But that is the most viable play for the side of Boosted.
So far, I mean, it just seemed like Mackenzie kind of overthought things a little bit. You know, Fusey wanted to put up the Cosmic Divide, but then thought better to not do that instead. And as soon as they started to stream into side, I mean, nobody was really covering the right angles. No one was looking at elbow, and even pushing outside of it, not really clearing the corners on site itself, allows for players like Yatogami to really stab them in the back. But here we go. This is the last round of the first half, and if they can secure this 8-4, it's not a bad start to the second swap.
Very true. So right now they are creating some presence towards B this time. And here we do see this is interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think to me, I'm trying to think of what better way for Boosted to just take this games around, because right now Yuffie was able to catch Sugoi off guard. Addy for the trade to equalize the man advantage. Sad Boy all the more from the flank takes Hua. Not sure if Yuffie is going to take this. Actually, he does. Trishana was a bit worried about the ramen side, too preoccupied not to focus on one angle. So right now Yatogami and the gang, Addy takes Sad Boy down from Lear. This is gonna be the Empress to be used. They're trying their best to get the spike. Will they though?
Don't know if they can actually.
They did get the spike, but they're on their way to sewer, so potentially A perhaps.
15
but
seconds
because
to do it.
yeah, I don't think they'd have enough time, because they're going to be denied by Yuffie here, supposed to be from sight. See? The blade storms are gonna be used. Flat. Is it gonna be possible? Oh, but Yuffie again, as mentioned, shuts them down 9-3. Again, this is such a similar game from the first. With the same scoreline, my guy. Same scoreline.
Same scoreline, different sides, different map, and it's one that favors Mackenzie. Mentioned before, I'm going to say it again. It's just looking out to be so good. If Mackenzie can secure the pistol, I think we could see where this is going. But if not, I mean, there's a chance that Boosted could come back. We've seen what they're capable of.
And again, it's quite a long run though. To be fair, because you have to commend Mackenzie in here to say the least, because they managed to really place themselves in a bit more of a lax composition or a lax score line. So at least they can have some losses here. But of course, if they do want to force that game 3, they have to just uh really clean up this match. So right now, loving how Kimi no Toriko is just really passive a bit here towards Heaven, but they do know that there is presence. They're not really seeing our side of the minimap, but liking the discipline here to not peek.
Cover going out.
Certainly shouldn't. I mean, an artificial wall creates some corners. They could be hiding on the other side of it as well. Mackenzie has to be careful about how they want to approach this, but at the same time, if they allow for all those seconds to tick away, they won't have much left to work with as they go in and commit in towards the sites. Seems like the green light has gone off, and into mailroom they go. They manage to take down 2 players along with them, and that is so good. How can Boosted recover from this?
This is quite hard. It's as if earlier they're whipping and now they're not. Trishana was able to spot out Sad Boy from earlier. Trishana should be able to see Yuffie from below. Don't think so. Don't think that's the case. And that spray down should have given her enough intel for that. Addy has no choice but to join Trishana towards Heaven because Ali is walled up. It's gonna be a turret there. He's the alarm bot as well. Ooh, but Sad Boy takes 3. But a lot of angles to look at. And just like that, Sad Boy was able to get 4. Could this be a redemption arc for Sad Boy, who has not been getting the shots in game number 1 and is now top fragging for the team?
Very possible. 18, 7, and 5. She is 4 out of 6 points away from her ultimate. This Sad Boy is not a sad boy any longer.
It's an angry boy. Angy boy.
Angy boy.
Angy boy.
Sure.
He's an angy boy.
I'm just picturing this tiny little kid going like, "You beat me on Bind, I'm gonna beat you on Haven." And no, I don't know. I mean, they've got the upgraded guns this time around. We've got Spectres up against pistols. It's a very possible 11-3. And after that, I mean, you see where this is going.
Exactly. And right now, at least at this point in time, they should be finding their ways to, how to make things work for them, because this is 10-3, not your best score line here. And they kind of force bot here, if I'm not mistaken. Some of them, at least.
Yeah,
so Sad Boy waiting for the right moment to enter. Not looking at the corner right here. Spots out Sugoi. Sugoi goes for the push. That's gonna be a trade. But Trishana with low HP. This could go to a 3 versus 2, where Yuffie just goes in towards that. That's gonna be a whiff, unfortunately, from Addy. Sugoi for the trade, but it all comes down to a 2 versus 2. Was able to spot out Fuzi, but Fuzi with the tap of a ghost gets 1, and only Yatogami to try to make things work for the pack. It's gonna be a plant of the spike. Now they know that Yatogami's in sight, then the double peek can just happen from here. Was able to salvage a gun as well. Could that be a pull? Yes, indeed. That's gonna be a push coming in from Yuffie. A bit of a whiff there because concussed, and is able to get themselves an 11th point. We are drawing closer to game number 3 here, Quack.
Very, very close. I mean, what a pull. The team play from Mackenzie. They are working very nicely in tandem this time around. It's just unfortunate because that was also a force buy from the boosted squad. I don't know if that's going to work out for them in the long run, because now they're buying yet again. After this, they're not going to have much left to work with if they lose this round.
Exactly. So right now we can see Ooh, half armor and specters for the side of boosted. I just realized it now. This is very, very tricky. And here, this is quite tricky for them because Baby Ham is gonna take
My
Trishana, who
goodness.
attempts to flank from showers. Not sure if they heard it, but they managed to get the job done. This could be paranoia now. Kiminator Ko is going to be pulled. Have to watch your back from Garage Sweezums, but Yatogami will be saving his back.
Aw.
And Sad Boy just looks at the corner, and Sad Boy knows where Yatogami is, and she should be forced to reposition. And Sad Boy is just making things work for her.
no.
Yuffie as well. They're watching their flanks. They're not
Spike
neglecting
down B.
all of their corners, but Yatogami will try to make things work in this 1v2 situation once again. They will meet, but that's a bit of a turn around, or at least an angle a little bit too late for Yatogami. And with
Match
that
point.
being said, they were not able to push through in towards their defensive side, in towards split. Match point is now in the hands of Mackenzie.
Absolutely just wrecking the boosted girls. Anytime they try to defend, anytime they try to even pull off a bit of a flank, Mackenzie girls are there to greet them, just pushing inside of sight. I mean, not to mention Sad Boy, who is absolutely just popping off. She's also enabled her Empress in that previous round, allowed her to pick up all those kills. She can do the same thing if her teammates can back her up into this one. I just don't see this going any different. Boosted definitely banking in on everything that they possibly have right now. It's the full buys. They need to continue this for 9 straight rounds if they just want to push this into overtime.
Exactly, and that, I mean, we both know where that usually goes, and sometimes it's not in a good run, especially with their gun or with their weaponry right now, or how they're positioned. No casualties just yet, but it's as if boosted kind of toned down in terms of their aim duels as well. They're not really hitting their shots as intended to be.
Not so much. At the very least, they will spot out Adi. Well, not Adi, the Raze player. Going in now, they're going to be able to capitalize on a little bit, but unfortunately not so much, as they ultimately get denied by the boosted players. Map control lost. They're
30 seconds
trying
left.
to go back in towards A Heaven, but all these players peeking in and out of them. They might be able to take Trishana down, but Adi's truly the one anchoring down on A.
Anchoring down at A. I mean, what more could have they done right here? They're technically surrounded at this point, and
10
Sad Boy is
seconds
just
left.
popping off for the team. So that's gonna be a spike plant for the Minotoriko. Not gonna hit the shots, as well as Sad Boy equates it to a 2 versus
One enemy
ooh,
remaining.
now
Oh my
1 versus 1 as Yuffie goes for the trade, but Sugoi should know, and that is a saving grace, a saving round for boosted, trying to prolong this game. But you have to take note, Quack, every round counts now for the side of boosted.
Exactly, every single one. And you got to multiply that by 8 just to turn this into
I'm not good at
overtime.
math. Can we try again?
12 minus 4 equals 8. So come on.
I'm
You
not
can
good
do it.
at math. Numbers
I get
scare
this
me, man.
Well,
I'm
you know
kidding.
what? Honestly, they kind of scare me too, because that was an expensive round for Boosted. They made it a very costly win. They managed to keep themselves alive for one more round, but can they continue to do that for the next one? And then the next one? They've gotten 1 rifle only on their side. The rest of them are on Spectres, some on Light Shields. It doesn't exactly inspire confidence, but if they hold the right positions, if they have to know how to make use of their utility, it could just somewhat work out. They hear the push coming in towards A-Rams at this very moment, and slow rotations going through in towards ropes at this point.
I'm a bit worried for Killjoy over here towards Raptors, because at any time she could be peaked, but right now they do have control of Heaven. If the Killjoy were to peek at, maybe to the left, over there, maybe things could work. But Addy in the right time, was able to peek and reposition in a timely manner. Trishana as well for the trade uses the lockdown because they have this point. And right now, we do see Kimi no Toriko whiff again towards Vents. Maybe Ham will be taking her down. 3 versus 4. Man advantage in their side. Lockdown's not enough to be destroyed.
30 seconds
Trishana
left.
will be taking a trade. Man advantage, at least for one, is in the hands of Boosted. Sad Boy from the flank. Trishana should know this. They should have enough senses for this. Trishana spots it out, uses the paint shells to delay the push. They just need to
15.
buy time. They just need to buy time here. You don't necessarily have to
10
peek.
seconds
They
left.
just have to wait at least less than 3 seconds, and then this round could be theirs. And you know what? I think maybe Ham and Sad Boy will just go for the save for this weapon.
Yeah, they've won enough rounds in a row. It doesn't matter if they lose this one. They should still have enough to buy up on the next, but at the very least, this is a very lovely, nice win for Boosted. They keep themselves alive yet again. Now, actually, no, Mackenzie does not get to buy up. They lost the past 2 rounds, so only 2 rifles on their side this time, and just maybe Boosted will be able to bring this to about halfway, 12-6.
I mean, I'm getting, very intense here, at least in the position of Boosted, because this is like hanging by a thread, you know? Like, this is where you can't really afford any more mistakes at this point because it costs you the match. And if Boosted has to have that said mistake, they're gonna go for game number 3. But for Mackenzie as well, they're quite still sitting in a pretty spot because again, they do need one more round to close this. And if ever the games or the scores were to be tight this time, or if Boosted was able to find their way here, maybe it's at least safe to say that they're kind of having a bit of a trouble into closing it. Ooh, look at this swarm grenade to use in towards Vents, but Sugoi takes 1 UP for the trade. This should be tradable by Kimi no Toriko, which happened. Takes the spike. That's gonna be a spike that uses the slow orb. Yuffie should know that there is one from Vents. Trishana takes a quick peek, but the Blade Storm is in the head. Good for that shot. Or you could say good for that stab. But right now,
30
3
seconds
versus 2. Kimi no Toriko is in a quite interesting situation. Adi should have the game sense going here.
Oh my goodness.
All dwindling it to a 1v2.
What?
Sad Boy was able to blind Kimi no Toriko in the process. The turret is going to act as their 3rd man,
10
getting
seconds left.
that information. Sad Boy now has to take them down for a clutch. That's gonna be 1 member remaining. Yatogami does not have to die, and they're still prolonging this game. Not necessarily with kills, but for time.
For time, but it was terrifyingly close as well. Down to the 1v1. Sad Boy actually managed to do so much damage in such a short manner of seconds.
This is giving me emotional damage.
Emotional damage.
It's a good way to put it because, again, it's like they're hanging by a thread. It's like they're walking a path that's very, very thin for the side of Boosted because
On a tightrope.
yeah, in a tightrope, exactly. So they have to really make their plays count here. And so far, I don't want to jinx it, but 12-6 from they're slowly making their progress here. Mackenzie, they just need 1 more round again. So maybe if they just try to catch them off guard, then they could secure this match.
They're definitely gonna try, but Boosted are swapping up their defensive setups as well. Nobody really positioned in towards ropes at this time, but because of all those previous rounds, all those contests towards mid, Mackenzie are a little bit more cautious than before. A lot of players being sent in towards A as well, and there's a lot of room that they can work with. Not unless they can maybe deal with those Killjoy utilities somewhat. But it's very crucial that Sad Boy stays alive. Her position inside of ropes could be used to cut off rotations,
30
could be
seconds
used
left.
as a very effective lurk. Boosted, hearing nothing in towards B at this moment. They sense that danger is coming in towards A, and they push in to defend at the right time. Segoy picking the first one now. But then the lockdown comes in. Oh no.
Kimi no Toriko finally
numbers.
starting to get their guns blazing. Baby Ham for the trade, but no players are going to be detained here to say the least. But the showstopper is going to get Baby Ham in the face, and just look at that, equating everything to a 1v3 now and keeping this game alive. 12 to 7. The hairs in my arms, you know, goosebumps moment at least to say, but they're slowly starting to climb up these ranks. They're slowly starting to get to see, or to actually us getting to witness their performance here, because right now this is a save at least, or a half buy rather, for the side of Mackenzie.
Absolutely. Still dangerous though. Still dangerous. You never quite know what they can do with Sheriffs. They have an Empress. They have the Cosmic Divide. They've got the Res as well. One single mistake, right, is all it takes. And so far, so good. Boosted has not let up. They just have to keep this up for 5 more rounds. I don't want to start believing just yet, because my heart has been broken before.
I don't wanna be tricked this upcoming February, Quack. You know, like, so I'm not gonna. But my heart, you know, like, a part of me wants to, but a part of me says no. You might get hurt.
You might get hurt.
No, you might get hurt. You know, the risk. There is the risk that is at stake here. You know what I mean?
Oh boy. What do we do? Do we believe? Do we believe in the heart of the cards?
I just believe that we just gotta tell this story, man. And right now it's been pretty intense. This is the action arc of the story, and the highlight. It's quite highlighted in Team Boosted at the moment. Could this be a 2-0 in a dream, or can they, you know, fight it once more into the third game as Mackenzie steals it away from them? But Sugoi denies entry, takes one down. A bit of a whiff back there, but Yatogami for the trade towards heaven. A 3 versus 4 man advantage by 1. This is looking good so far, at least for Boosted. Yatogami is really disciplined and focused in this angle, because he knows that Baby Tarn is in the vicinity, and there is the point of res, but the time is not in their favor. We do see them quite a bit congested here towards heaven. They just don't need to die. They don't have time to plant the spike, but Shoshana cleans it up, not needing to live, but more on them, taking down their enemy 8 to 12. I don't want to believe this yet.
Really?
I don't want to believe this yet, but my heart and my mind, they're contrasting right now.
Your heart says yes, but your mind says no.
Yes,
and
exactly.
with every single Boosted win, 5 in a row so far, Zaya's voice just gets a little bit higher. But
this is what happens, you know, when you kind of like expect something, or starting to expect something. I don't want to disappoint myself, man. But look at this.
Oh no.
Yeah, defense. Beautiful swarm grenade by Anime. However, denies the Empress, but there is respectable trades. But 4v1 still. I'm not sure if this Cosmic Divide works wonders or favors for them.
Last player standing.
Oh!
But Yatogami and Trishana from side takes them away. Sugoi is able to clean up the round. 12 to 9 in the dream.
I think by the end of this game,
Oh
you're gonna find a swarm of dogs like outside your house or something, because you're gonna reach that dog whistle frequency.
Oh my goodness.
But here
I
it is.
mean,
It's...
who wouldn't, right? Who wouldn't?
Yeah.
I mean, I think, like, if you have the capability to have like your pitch high, you would basically do the same.
Yeah, because you want dogs. Why not?
Dogs are pretty nice, yes.
Yeah, they're awesome. But you know what else is nice? It's also this timeout for Mackenzie. They're sensing that, all right, this is starting to become a problem. What's wrong with our approach? How do we fix this? And I think it's truly the fact that, especially in that previous round, their approach was a little bit too messy, a little bit too blind, just setting up that cosmic divide and expecting it to do all the work. They push in, but unfortunately, once they get met with a bit of resistance from players like Sagoi, Yatogami, Adi as well, hiding inside of that one corner, everything falls apart.
Indeed. So right now, because of this timeout, let's see if there is some potential reset, at least also in their mentality as well, to try to get an approach wherein they are able to secure this attacking side that they have. But so far, at least for the side of Boosted, it is safe to say that they managed to close out the fight. You can't really say that it's one-sided at this point because they were able to race it all the way from a 3-12 to a 9-12.
Well, it is that race, it is that gap, and it is still very much there, getting a little bit closer. But again, a single mistake, and that's all it takes. Mackenzie, they've got their full buys. They want to make it count. They're spread out all across the map, playing a default.
It's like you're narrating, huh?
they're kind of expecting Boosted to push out, but Boosted are not budging at all.
Of course. I mean, at least at this point, at least from what I've seen, Boosted kind of like realized, okay, we don't necessarily need to pick up the fights. We just need to play for peaks, and it's working wonders for them. Kimi no Toriko is in a very risky situation here as it takes one. There should be a double peak done beautifully by themselves.
Oh!
But Shana takes one once again, and oh, look at this, cleaning up the fight, getting their double-digit point. 2 more rounds and it's overtime. Quack.
Oh,
what's happening?
My God. Again, you know, it has to be said, they're just kind of streaming in. I mean, the default doesn't work because Boosted does not bite on that bait. The slow and sudden push doesn't work either because maybe they're just picking the wrong sides. Everywhere they turn, there is some kind of a multiple player setup, especially in towards areas like mid. And slowly but surely, the wall goes up.
Definitely. And speaking of mid, they're actually trying to at least take control of this side, but Kimi no Toriko this time with a passive, now a more aggressive approach as he repositions really well because they know that one is going to anticipate from that corner, and that is a good way to start things off this time. It's going to be a crossfire from the side of Boosted. If they are able to make things work, then this could be beneficial for them. But Shoshana is in an interesting position here, to say the least. But imagine spot out Sad Boy over here. Takes one, goes for the high catch. Beautiful spray coming in for both Kimi no Toriko and Shoshana to all dwindle down to Fiozi. And with this could be an 11 point, and one more overtime is possible. And for the side of Mackenzie, it is safe to say that they're having quite the difficulty in closing our rounds. That's gonna be a dink Kimi no Toriko summertime, but with a triple peak to avenge their fallen comrade, is able to get their 11th point.
Oh boy, here it is, Zaya. One more round. One more for either side.
If they win this for overtime, I'm gonna start to believe. Yes, because as long as that 12 match point is still in the hands of Mackenzie, anything can still happen, right? They can maybe they can suddenly pop off. But there's also this factor that maybe Boost can go for overtime. So until this overtime is official and it happened, I will try to restrain myself. But you know what? In my heart, it says you don't believe. But at the same time, I would like to see this through as well. So we just have to see how Mackenzie is going to react to this round.
If I were them, forget mid. Every time that they've tried to go into mid, it doesn't work out. So here it comes. Full execute on towards the B side. They've got the lockdown, but they're trapped inside because of that one nanoswarm. Sagoi tries to stop it. Showstopper comes out right now, and Kimi no Toriko as well. The spy carrier dropped. Is this really happening, Zaya? Is this really happening?
It's happening. It's happening. Number advantage. Oh, and look at that. To spare the lockdown as well for this moment.
Okay, they got time. Though.
Forcing them out of the site. The
40
spike
seconds.
is in their hand. 40 seconds here. Kimi no Toriko is at heaven, watching flank. What more could they do here? Unless Kimi no Toriko whips it out, I think there's no chance to, get this round in their hands. Should I believe? Yes, I am gonna
30
start
seconds
believing
left.
now, especially with this kind of situation.
You know what they say? It's just a small town girl. You don't want to stop believing.
Don't stop believing.
Before we get DMCA'd because your singing voice is
Oh.
too good.
Remaining. 10
Oh.
seconds left.
One player remains. Adi takes him down. It is overtime. No freaking way.
Switching sides.
This
Overtime.
is a starting from the bottom, now we're here moment for Boosted. They literally boosted themselves up from a 12-3 to a now 12-12. What a monster!
What a monster. What a game. And this is just a testament to all of these girls here in FSL. Whether it's Evolve, whether it's the BCT Game Changers, this is the talent that we have at our hands. They started with a 9-3 first half. Mackenzie, they took it back to a 12, and then Boosted started their climb. How many rounds in a row is this at this point? I think I can't even
I'm not
count
good
that
at math.
many.
Let's count that
It's
one by
9.
one, shall we? So it was a 12-3, right? So it's a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. See, you're good at math. Of course, 12, 9 rounds. Oh my goodness. Woo. Okay, we gotta calm down right here because again, we are back to Boosted being on the attacker side. So we've seen it earlier that their attacker side was a little bit of shaky, or not really a little bit, it was shaky because Mackenzie was able to get that 9-round advantage. So right now in this overtime, do you think that the momentum that they got from their defender side would reflect here to potentially clean up the round? Because it's safe to say, right, that Mackenzie had a bit of a trouble in what's this? This is the circle of life, I assume. Maybe this is a side of a ritual. But again, going back, Quack, do you think that the momentum or the aggression that Boosted had with their defense can go for this overtime attacker side?
I think, Hakuna Matata, right?
Any
No worries. It's
for
all
the
right.
rest of your days.
We've seen it. All right, it is true. Boosted's attacking side isn't so good. It's really just saying that this map split heavily defender sided just because of the way that it's laid out. If you know how to play defensive setups correctly, it's almost an impregnable fortress. Now, on the attacking side, however, if you can come up with some kind of a strategic approach, something that we've seen before in some rounds from the Boosted girls, from the Mackenzie girls, you've got things like Astra Stars that can really block off and isolate some positions, allowing for the duelists to actually create space safely. That just might be the trick, but it doesn't happen too often because I don't know if these girls have that playbook. It seems like they're trying to craft or come up with something right now. There is a little bit of a pause as well. But if they can actually do it, if they can take this first round in OT1 and then they swap over onto defense where they are clearly so much more comfortable, this could be it.
Here.
This is it. Oh, no, I'm kidding. But at this point, it's still, to me at least, it could be anyone's game. But with the performances that we've seen, Boosted currently has the momentum. Because imagine climbing. We did mention it earlier that 12-3, it's a huge climb, and they managed to, if not climb it, they managed to just really work together so that they can really reach the top. And the top is currently this overtime, and it's up to either of the teams to close it with an extra 2 wins. So right now, Fusey, they do place some smokes in here.
Oh no.
Ooh, but instead, Fusey was the one who's tagged, and an aggressive play coming in from Tashana suddenly goes up towards Heaven, goes for the spray so that they do have an impression that someone is at rafters, but right now,
No way.
Spike is going to be planted. They are able to plant the Spike Quack.
And this is troublesome. There are only 2 more places that they really got to look out for, not to mention the wall panels can be shot down as well. It is absolutely imperative that every single member from the side of Boosted locks down every single angle. That is a good trade. Down to the 4v4, and they bring it back down to an even numbers. Oh my god, even going into the peak onto Heaven, there's 1 player left. That's Sad Boy. What is this?
Sad Boy with a 1v3 and a dream, but I'm pretty sure this is just gonna be Crossfire because they know that he is at A main. That's gonna be a Lear destroyed here. They already spotted him out. Kimi no Toriko for the cleanup. It's a 12-13. They managed to turn the tables around at least by 1, and this time they are the ones at match point.
That's it. I'm done. I'm taking the midnight train. I'm going anywhere.
I need coffee, man. I need coffee.
I'll deliver
I was mentioning
some
this at
coffee.
the back of my mind. I'm debating whether I should have coffee, but right now, both of our teams are giving me reasons to.
You need that caffeine.
This
You
is
gotta
such a close fight, Quack.
inject it into your veins. This could be it. Boosted are so much better on the defense, but Mackenzie might just try something different as well. Looking to pull off that B rush at this very moment in time. They smoke it off, but we also have Segoy at the ready with her paranoia.
Try at B attempt for the side of them, but Trishana opens it up with one, Segoy with another after the paranoia. Dwindling man advantage for the side of Mackenzie. 5 versus 3. They kind of need to make things work together here, but what happened to the sudden shutdown of momentum that firstly came from Mackenzie? Now they have the luxury to wait for these peaks because they are defensive side. The spike has not been planted. Look at all of these smokes, these spaces that are granted for the side of Boosted.
They're still using the wall to slowly creep up front though, but they meet in towards Segoy's crosshairs. Here they come. Sad Boy instantly dismissing.
Segoy?
Has no HP left, and Segoy finished this off with a triple kill. 14-12. This is one of the biggest comebacks I have ever seen in all of
that is in the hands of Boosted. Imagine being shut down to a 12-3 all the way to climb it up to an overtime, and they're the ones who completely shut down the members of Mackenzie here, turning the tables around. Indeed, it was a good game, well played for both sides of the teams, but man, Boosted, what a play from them. And look at the stats quickly right here. Sad Boy was really doing a great job getting these 30k for the team so that it all ended up to a match point. They had difficulty in closing the fights, but right now, Trishana and the rest, Sugoi as well, with those double peaks, they were able to really reset their minds. They were unfaltered at the end of the day. And look at that, just like this, they were able to conclude it with a 2-0.
Oh my god, 2-0 is this absolutely tenacious, unwavering attitude, winning 11 straight rounds in a row. And this is not even the grand final. This is only the first round of 8 in our playoffs. I cannot wait to see what more we have.
Exactly, and I'm pretty sure there's gonna be more of these to come into the next days that we're gonna have. But that game, that was just really mind-blowing. I have no more words.
Same. I think we good? We done?
Yeah, we
No. I can't
But
talk
again,
anymore.
of course, guys, there you go. That was the playoffs best of 3 series between Mackenzie and of course Boosted. And Boosted really gave us a show. And of course as well as Mackenzie, a bit of a shaky start into their game number 1 being dominated by Boosted, but game number 2
Very
really
strong
took us
start.
off. Yeah, in our seats as Boosted was able to really clean up that round in a very tight, rope moment that we had in that best of 3s. And with that being said, those are the matches for this day's matchup for the Valorant Evolve. We will be having our semis and our finals tomorrow, so guys, make sure to check that out. There you go.
Yeah, follow the Twitch page, like the Facebook page, follow it on Twitter, everywhere that you could possibly look out for, because this is the quality of matches that we have. And this is only the first part of the playoffs.
First of many. And again,
imagine.
guys. Yeah, and again, guys, this is FSL Valorant Evolve. Of course, we'd like to thank the partners as well, Intel and Yahoo. And again, we are your casters for this day. My Siora, and this is Quack. And of course, alongside with us was Key from earlier. And we'll be seeing you guys on the next one.
Yeah, we'll see you more tomorrow. So, see you. Bye.